Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
Well, a round three in New York City at Madison Square Garden in a little over 3 weeks would be absolutely delightful. I did the first meeting between these two teams in stores, and UConn punked Creighton in that game. Creighton scored 48 points in that first game. 48 in the entirety of the game. They hit 48 early in the second half tonight. And I think this comes down to three things. Number one, if you allow Cam Spencer or Alex Caravan to get cooking from the perimeter, you are in for a very long night. Because Newton's the head of this snake, and Klingon on the interior, foul trouble or not, at some point he's going to make an impact. And he did when Connecticut went on their second half surge. Creighton took away Alex Caravan and Cam Spencer's explosive ability tonight. They held the duo to 5 of 15 from the floor. 5 of 15 from the floor. John, you said that this was a mirror from the first game? Well, in the first meeting between these two teams, UConn held Shireman and Alexander to a combined 6 for 23 from the floor. So I just thought that was the first thing. Number two, you go 14 to 28 from three, you're going to beat just about anybody. And at the end of the day, the player that Stephen Ashworth was January 17th is not the player that he is now. He's finally figured out what Greg McDermott's asking of him, and it's a direct credit to McDermott and the job he's done. And number three, UConn, over the last 2 months, has gotten used to punching somebody in the mouth, and they don't punch back. They don't punch back because there's a fear factor. The rest of the Big East, with the exception of Creighton, has a fear obstacle to get over. Creighton does not. What's Creighton's record against UConn now in Omaha? 4-0. What's their record against UConn all time? 7-2. So when Connecticut opened the game on a 7-0 run and an 11-3 run, it wasn't stop the fight. The fight was just beginning. And UConn got hit back tonight. They got hit back by a team. It was criminal that they were not in the top 16 reveal from the committee on Saturday. And in terms of bracket implications, you can bet your bottom dollar, Rob, that the Creighton Blue Jays are going to be a top 4 seed in March Madness.
Yeah, that was a win that I don't want to say they absolutely needed it because we're talking about a team that was already a 5 seed. They were a 4 seed and are fielding the 68 bracket, and everybody knows how good this group is. But I do think that it says a lot about who this team is that they can come out here and respond to that, right? Like we saw some struggles from Creighton earlier in the year. The one that stands out to me is the Colorado State loss on the neutral floor where they only put up 48 points, where they kind of got down early and they couldn't really figure it out and get it going. Now, a lot of this, I think, has to do with playing in that building, right? When you have 18,000 people, half of them in blue, half of them in white, going absolutely crazy because the number one team in the country is in your building, like it's very easy to get the energy from that, and it's very easy to avoid having those letdowns. But it's not just playing in their building, right? It's not just because it was a home game for them. Creighton, I thought it was a great game plan. I thought it was fantastic execution. I thought they were the tougher team defensively. They got to all the loose balls. They got a little bit of luck because they were the one to get Klingon in foul trouble before Kalkbrenner got in foul trouble. And sometimes that's just the way the ball bounces. But I actually thought, and tell me if you guys think this is crazy, I don't think UConn played horribly, right? Like they struggled to get the shots that they wanted in the first half. I thought that defensively they were not as good as we've seen them in the past, but I don't think that they played 19 points worse than Creighton here. They deserve to lose, don't get me wrong, but I think this says everything about Creighton, what they can be on the nights when they shoot like that. And you know what? When you got Baylor Shireman and you got Stephen Ashworth and you got Trey Alexander and you got Mason Miller and you got guys they brought in Jason Green off the bench, who was a guy that was hyped up in the offseason. He has taken 2 threes all year, John. He hasn't made a 3 all season. He made 2 tonight, his first 2. When that happens, that's one of those ones where you're just like, all right, game's over. Let's pack this up. Nobody get injured. I don't want any sprained ankles. Nobody hurt your knee. Don't do anything dumb. Don't break your finger. Let's just get out of here uninjured, and we'll regroup, and we get Villanova and Seton Hall at home. And if we win both of those, then we're going to win at minimum share the Big East title. It's just one of those nights, man. It kind of is what it is. I don't know what you could say about it beyond that.
Hey, look, college basketball's not a 7-game series, unfortunately. If it was, UConn would win the game win the series. I think win the championship. UConn or Purdue. That's why it's the best sport to me. That's why it's not 7 games. 1 game, you get sent home. I think in a 7-game series, UConn wins 4-1, right? But unfortunately, that's not how it works. And Creighton showed us tonight anyone can be beat. And I think that's just been a story of college basketball this year.
Rob, we talk about Dan Hurley, and you're right, John. It has been the story of college basketball this year. We talk about UConn, their offensive evolution, philosophically, and then what's happened on the floor. They were a team early on under Hurley. They're just going to win a bar fight over you. They're going to be physical. They're going to get up in you. They're going to defend at a high level. They still do that when they're at their best. They defend at a high level. But, Rob, they've shifted to getting a point guard who can facilitate, and Tristan Newton can score quite well. And I know you got into this a little bit on Newton and how UConn may need that scoring ability, which I know you'll get into here. But to me, the way that this program's taken off over the last 2 years has been their ability to space the floor and have multiple guys where you say, shoot, we can't leave him. And I just thought tonight, Creighton's ability to track the shooters. I mean, after the first 3-4 minutes of the game, have you seen UConn's offense actually get that type of resistance from the other team in the last 2 months? Not to the level we saw tonight.
No, it was, again, credit to what Creighton did defensively. They had the perfect game plan and they executed it perfectly. Here's what I mean by that. On the season, UConn is shooting 41.4% of their field goal attempts from beyond the arc. They took 16 threes tonight out of their 59 field goals. Like they were run off the 3-point line. Creighton had a perfect game plan to execute it. They have the perfect roster to be able to do that. And it worked, right? And they got caught fire offensively. It just kind of is what it is. The point about Newton, though, I think is important because there is going to be a day in the NCAA tournament, in the Big East tournament, where a team is going to be able to do this to UConn, right? We saw Kansas do this to UConn and find a way to be able to take away what they wanted to run offensively. And to have Tristan Newton be able to give you 27 and 4 assists or give you 31 and 6 assists like he did at Kansas kind of says to me, when he needs to, he can go out there and take over a game. Now, I would like to see him try to do that a little bit earlier instead of when UConn is down by 20 points in the second half when he sees that it's not really working. But there's going to be a game in the Big Dance or a game in the Big East tournament where UConn needs Tristan Newton to go supernova to have a chance to win. And it's nice to see that he at least has the ability to do that in his arsenal. And I don't know if we necessarily knew that before this game.
John, do you still believe in UConn more than anybody in college basketball?
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I mean, if you look at these blowouts this year, usually they get worse, right? Teams just kind of fold up. Coach Hurley was clapping them up, cheering them up. They kept playing. Cam Smith kept playing. Tristan Newton was still playing hard, and they fought back. And I think that's just a testament to how good this team is. Bad night, it happens, but most teams would have packed it up. Similar to Tennessee tonight, right? Struggled down the stretch, figured it out. You know, that's a sign of a good team. I'm not worried about them at all. I think this is actually perfect for them. This is going to motivate them. They're not going to rest on their laurels.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.